Hello, my name is Bryan Fijalkovish. I'm in my first GSLIS class right now, and I'd like to talk to you about my project, FloatingWorldCU, which will be a website designed to connect the Champaign-Urbana community with 19th century Japan via woodblock prints. To better understand FloatingWorldCU, first I'm going to elaborate on the following. Ukiyo-e, the donor of the prints, which is the Utagawaha Monjinkai Foundation, the keeper of the prints, which is the Gertz Education Center of the Krannert Art Museum, my target audience, the platform, which is omeka.net, the format of the collections, my first exhibition, a modern Genji, and the future of the project. I have an interest in Japanese art and aesthetics. I also have an urge to make art more accessible. These prints are unique in that I can actually take them out of the museum, out of their archival boxes, and into the hands of students. These prints were produced during the Edo Period, a time of military rule and official isolation from the rest of the world in Japan. And the seat of the shogun was established in Edo, which is modern-day Tokyo. Society was comprised of 4 social classes under a Confucian hierarchy. So what is ukiyo-e? The term ukiyo transformed during the 17th century from the Buddhist meaning, which referred to a sad, miserable world, to using the kanji for floating, in reference to reveling in pleasures of the immediate present. Therefore, ukiyo-e is best defined as pictures of the floating world. The floating world refers to 2 places in Edo, the first being the licensed pleasure quarters, where men went to be entertained by cultivated, beautiful courtesans. On the right, we see a samurai making arrangements to do so in a tea house. The second locale of the floating world was the kabuki theater, where patrons flocked to watch skilled and attractive actors who honed their skills through family lineage. On the right, we see an actor of the Danjuro line in the role of Sogagoro, seeking vengeance for the death of his father. Ukiyo-e was produced in a collaborative method. As you can find in this parody, ukiyo-e production involves a publisher, one who makes financial arrangements and coordinates the process, an artist who draws the outlines of the figures and makes indications for the colors, the carver who carves the wood blocks using the artist's drawing as a guide, and a printer who presses the print onto the colored blocks. Preserving the art of ukiyo-e is a primary concern of the Utagawaha Monjinkai Foundation. It was founded in 1990 by a Tadashi Goino, and the foundation uses ukiyo-e to promote Japanese culture. The UM set out to donate 10,000 ukiyo-e prints to educational institutions throughout the world. In 2000, the Gertz Center of the Krannert Art Museum received 50 of these. Here's an image of the UM founder Tadashi Goino, and he's actually encouraging viewers to touch the prints on display at an exhibition in Hawaii. And he is the impetus behind the rare donor stipulation that says, we want our audience to physically touch the art. We want you to touch the prints without gloves on. We know the UM's mission, so what about the Krannert? Well, the Krannert supports interdisciplinary study for the benefit of all and exists as a cultural destination and virtual presence. It seems that Floating World's mission will fit in nicely within those of the UM and the Krannert Museum. Like the Krannert, Floating World is a virtual cultural destination. However, its objects are mobile and its audience is also a destination. Furthermore, like the Floating World promotes Japanese culture via ukiyo-e. So we have a mutually beneficial intersection of 3 institutions. So who is the audience here? Well, it involves a lot of classrooms, K through 12s, art education, Asian languages, art history, museum visitors, Champaign-Urbana public, and of course libraries. I'm interested in pursuing, well, I am pursuing a program called Nippon Now, which is a Japanese language after-school program run through the Center for East Asian and Pacific Studies. They've shown interest, and we're actually going to arrange a meeting for next week to view the prints. The platform for Floating World will be, the platform for the website will be omeka.net. I made this decision based on the positive buzz that the service has generated on user reviews, blogs, and discussions with colleagues. The site will have 3 main areas, collections, exhibitions, and lesson plans. I'd like to catalog all 50 of the prints in a similar fashion to this, including artist, title, series, date, censor seal, size, print techniques, condition, and with a concise summary, and I would also like to enable a comment function. My first exhibition will be called A Modern Genji. It'll showcase the prints depicting a 19th century version of the shining Prince Genji from the tale of Genji of 1,000 years ago. Mitsuji, much like Genji, found himself in the constant pursuit of women when he shouldn't be. Here we see the protagonist, Mitsuji, identified by his shrimp tail forelock, and he's dressed in modern attire contemporary with Edo in the 19th century. Here we have another image from A Modern Genji depicting who we call the Safflower Lady. And Mitsuji had become infatuated with her. She's a widowed lady whose estate was left to decay. Upon catching a glimpse of her, Mitsuji noted the peculiar red hue of her long nose as similar of that of a safflower. These flowers flank our disenfranchised lady in the foreground of this image. As far as lesson plans go, based off of common conventions of ukiyo-e, such as showcasing actors' family crests, artists' signatures, and creating scenes that include text and image, many activities could be implemented to allow students to create something meaningful. To sustain the project, I intend to become part of an active network, create and publish new content online, such as exhibitions and lesson plans, elicit feedback from users and visitors, and see what other institutions are doing with their donations. Thank you.
Produced by OCE Atlas Digital Media at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign.